The European Union received nearly 50 million euros or 54 million US dollars from Africans whose Schengen visa applications were rejected in 2023. Approximately 670,000 Africans had their visa applications declined.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the channel. So today in this video, I want us to talk about this sad story about Africa and Africans' applications of visas to Europe, the European Union, to the UK, to the US, and the so-called the Western world. So just before we go into this, you might have an idea that so recently, or in a few weeks ago, the Namibian government had declared stringent measures on visa applications to citizens from those so-called the Western world, most of those countries. But this was a retaliatory move because the Namibian government felt that they were not getting fair treatment. Their citizens, upon application of visas either to the EU, the Schengen visa that gives you, I think, an opportunity to roam in the EU, in the UK, in the US, and Canada, were being unfairly targeted, unfairly treated, and unfairly rejected. Their visa applications were being rejected without, a particular substantial reason to why they reject. Now, this met a fair amount of criticism, and people say that was going to affect tourism into the country. But if you really look into it, then Africa has been made to be so dependent on handouts on the West that, if the West is not doing something for Africa, then Africa cannot do anything. I think it is just right to do to someone what they are doing to you. Now, back to this visa story. So this visa application saga has become the new exploitation of the Western world to Africa. So millions and millions of Africans every year get their visas rejected on very opaque grounds or on opaque reasons. Their visas denied, but their money accepted. So it's become a multi-billion business for the Western world countries to make good money from rejection, not from visa application exactly, but visa rejection from Africans. Often the reason is because I say there are very opaque reasons. They're not sure that the Africans are going to come back. Africans are going to run away into Europe and the UK and the US and Canada. While on the other hand, if you look at how the people moving into Europe and from America, from Europe into Africa, from the Americas into Africa, they do not go through such restrictions and stringent measures to get their visa approved. In fact, in most cases, they get their visas on arrival at low cost and at almost always without fail. But that is not reciprocated on the other side. They have to give. Now, this is a sad story. Let me share with you this video. Let's watch along together. At the end of this video, we can have an analysis, a conclusion on this story. So let's get into the video.
It's no longer news that the West does not want Africans on their land, and they have taken measures to ensure that Africans seeking greener pastures remain in their countries. One of the measures Western countries have taken is through visa applications. In December 2022, a Kenyan performer and DJ known as Coco EM could not make it to the Terra Sagrada festival in Cape Verde, which she had been looking forward to for a year. She couldn't even make it out of her country because, at the check-in counter in Kenya, she was told she could not board her flight unless she bought a return ticket with the same airline to prove she would return home after the festival. Meanwhile, she already had a return ticket with another airline. This incident is just one of the thousands of stories that portray how Africans are faced with unfair travel restrictions to the US and Europe. In early 2023, Nigerian Afro-pop star Yemi Alade requested a Schengen visa, but her request went unanswered. She was also denied a Canadian visa for the International Africa Nights Festival. According to the co-founder of the festival, Suzanne Rousseau, the singer was denied due to financial reasons and fears that she would not want to leave Canada. And this is someone who has several world tours under her belt and is a celebrity. This means it doesn't matter whether you are a high-profile individual attending an event of international standards. It's all about your passport, or more specifically, your African passport. And the reason why traveling to or transiting through Europe and the US has been and is still difficult for Africans is because most European countries consider Africans a risk. So, to mitigate that risk, they impose certain restrictions and require that Africans meet certain requirements before they even get onto their first flight. For instance, the Schengen countries that make up the EU's passport-free zone have agreed on a common short-stay visa regime that allows third-country nationals, Africans, to travel to any member of the Schengen area for up to 90 days for tourism or business purposes. However, research has shown that the success rate of a Schengen visa application depends on the GDP per capita of the country where the application is lodged, meaning that the poorer the country, the higher the rejection rate. In fact, the top 3 countries with the highest Schengen visa rejection rates are from the continent of Africa. Guinea-Bissau had 53% of its applications rejected, Senegal 52%, and Nigeria 51%. To get a Schengen visa, you would need a host of documents, including bank statements, return flights, addresses while abroad, and travel insurance policies. The threshold gets higher and changes so dramatically. Sadly, African countries are in the bottom half of the global passport ranking, and with few exceptions, people from African countries need to obtain visas for more than 100 countries. However, this is not the case when a European or an American travels to Africa. Most of them do not need to get a visa before coming because they can get a visa on arrival at a low cost because of how strong their passport is. They don't have to show bank statements or prove they are employed. They don't need proof of a return ticket. The process is seamless and easy. Why can't it be the same for Africans? Why are Africans considered a risk? One of the recurring reasons why Africans face difficulty in obtaining visas to Europe and the USA is that Europe does not want Africans to stay in their country. One Nigerian writer, Elnathan John, captures this fact in a recent series of tweets. He says, "A good African traveler is one who returns, one who leaves Europe or America quickly. The embassies love them. Good African don't move." He also added, "It has become like a criminal act for an African to openly admit planning to move to another country. We are made to swear we won't stay. When a European or American wants to move to Africa, they don't apologize. They say it with pride. Why is this the case? Africans with African passports are always met with a particular stereotype, one of suspicion and fear, as if Africans have a contagious disease that would spread all over Europe if they step foot in the country. They are subjected to several unnecessary and humiliating situations, all in a bid to get a visa at a high cost. And still, getting a visa is not even a guarantee that they would get into the country. They would still have to deal with immigration officers who would look at them suspiciously and ask them questions as if they were criminals. However, this is not even the worst of it. We understand that Western countries such as the United States are sovereign countries that have every right to accept immigrants or refuse to accept them, right? After all, it's their country and their resources that they would have to share with outsiders who come to visit or stay. However, the problem is how these Western countries take advantage of Africans applying for visas. These Western embassies literally extort Africans applying for visas. And how did they do that? We will show you. On February 19th of this year, an Instagram page called Pan-African Lifestyle posted a video of a Namibian woman who stood in front of the U.S. Embassy in Namibia and called out the U.S. Embassy for allegedly extorting locals by having them pay the application fees only to deny them without reasonable cause. She noted that Africa had a U.S. Embassy to assist those with their visas, but denied many without reason. She then asked why the embassy officials had applicants come to the counter to pay the 3,600 Namibian dollar NAD fee, which is about $200 for the visa, only to get denied at the next counter.
But if you already see on your system that a person doesn't qualify for the visa, then why take them to the counter where they pay 3,600 for the visa and go to the next counter and be denied a visa? Then first interview them. If they don't qualify, don't make a person like this.
According to her, it would have been better if they interviewed the applicant before denying the visa. Another lady standing beside her added that embassy officials failed to ask her any questions but denied her. Their statement was confirmed by the man who filmed them, a Mushalelo Michael, who said that indeed they were not interviewed before they were denied. She paid $3,600 just to be denied at the next counter. This is the second time, the first woman stated. Guys, this is supposed to be our friends in America. They built a big building in our country because we are friends. They're friends with Namibians. At least that's what we think. So can you see how Africans have been extorted? If the embassy knew that they were not going to give these people the visas, why still collect their money, which is non-refundable? People will stand for hours, from morning till evening, waiting to get inside the embassy and hoping to get a visa. But then after paying their hard-earned money, they get denied for flimsy reasons. In Nigeria, we have even heard of some people who sell their properties and use the proceeds from the sale to apply for visas. Unfortunately, they end up not getting the visa, their money is non-refundable, and they have to start from the beginning again. Isn't that wickedness? If you are sure that you won't give these people the visas, then don't collect the money. Do these Western embassies care at all? Of course not. It's simply business. And guess what? The U.S. ambassador to Kenya, Meg Whitman, admitted to this fact during an interview with a Kenya journalist who asked why it is easier for Americans to visit Kenya, but it's very difficult for Kenyans to visit the U.S. The journalist also asked why spousal visas usually take years, especially when one of the spouses is from Kenya. The reply, given by the ambassador, though diplomatic, revealed how the U.S. politicians viewed the whole thing. She said that the visa department is funded by visa fees and went on to talk about a bunch of other stuff. But the point is that the U.S. visa department is funded by visa fees, meaning that they need those fees if they are going to continue running the visa department. These guys already know how many people they would give visas to, but will collect from everyone who comes to apply because they need the money. So, it's just business for them. But for Africans who sell their properties to get this visa only to be denied, it's not business. It's extortion and pure wickedness, and should even be called a human rights abuse.
See, in those embassies, the visa departments in those embassies are actually run by those visa fees. That means if people don't apply, those departments cannot run. So they want to get those business departments, because they are business departments, they are making money, they are making lots of profit. They want to make sure that those are sustained And Africans are the one who must sustain. And you know that this is the sad story is those that are exploiting the very little from the most vulnerable that they can make. The very little that they can make, they grab it all. Now, Africans are treated to unfair access to resources elsewhere around the world, business opportunities, even to visit their relatives, education, and just maybe to go out there and have fun. They will restrict that. Now, if really it is in good faith that sometimes they deny you the entry into, say, they deny you the Schengen visa, or they deny you the UK visa, or they deny you the US, Canada visas, why do they then take your money? In good faith, put clear-cut lines. Tell me the reasons why I do not meet the requirements at the moment, and if I am going to be able to meet at a certain point, and then I can come and pay. After paying, then I get my visa. But I do not need to pay and get rejected while all along you knew that I didn't qualify for whatever the reasons, opaque reasons, I insist. But you take my money and you send me back home. All the monies that you have just grabbed, snatched, stolen from me are my little savings. I'd rather have spent that money on anything else, on food, on my personal life here, instead of like throwing that money to the wind. How has that money helped me? So this is simply a business the West is not willing to lose. But I think it is time for Africa to wake up. Let's see how much and what numbers have to do with the amounts that these people are making on this in this other video.
A TRT Africa analysis of the European Union data reveals. In 2023, some 2.5 million Africans sought Schengen visa against a total of 10.3 million people worldwide. A Schengen visa allows people from non-European Union or allied countries a short stay of up to 90 days in a 6-month period. According to the EU, there are 26 countries within the Schengen zone today. They include Italy, Spain, the Netherlands, Belgium, Denmark, and Austria. Schengen visas come in 3 forms: single entry, multiple entry, and airport transit. For single entry, just as the name suggests, it allows you entry into the Schengen area only once on the approved visa. The multiple entry visa allows you several visits to the Schengen area for as long as the visa is valid. An airport transit visa allows you to get to another country through an airport in the Schengen area. A Schengen visa application previously cost 80 euros or $85, but now costs 90 euros or $100 for adults and $50 for children aged between 6 and 12. The fees are non-refundable regardless of the outcome of your application. The 670,000 rejected visa applications by Africans accounted for nearly 41% of the funds EU raised from visa fees globally in 2023. Morocco, Algeria, South Africa, Egypt and Tunisia had the highest number of applications in Africa, all above 160,000 each. The others with high number of applications are Nigeria, Angola, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal and Kenya. All of these countries had more than 56,000 applications each. Some 43,000 Nigerians who failed to get the visas lost nearly $3 million, while some 13,000 Kenyans lost about $900,000. Approximately 20,000 Ghanaians lost $1.4 million, and 388,000 applicants from Morocco, Algeria, Egypt, and Tunisia lost a combined amount of nearly $25 million. All the 120 applications by Liberia were approved. Mauritius, Botswana, Namibia, Zambia, and Sao Tome and Principe had less than 400 applications rejected each. When applying for a Schengen visa, one must fill an application form, produce a recent passport size photograph, have a valid passport, travel medical insurance, and application fee, a cover letter explaining the purpose of one's visit, and a 3-month statement proving financial means are also needed. For children, their applications must be signed by their parents or legal guardians. While applying for a Schengen visa, one's request must be submitted to the embassy of the country the applicant plans to visit. The common reason people are denied Schengen visas include questionable criminal records, false documents, incomplete forms, unclear reasons for the visit, insufficient funds, and an authenticated certificate of birth or marriage. Other reasons are failing to present travel itinerary, having invalid travel insurance, and failure to present proof of accommodation. Visa processing normally takes between 15 and 45 days.
So you take my money in the pretense of offering me a service, but you don't offer the service. That is equivalent to robbery. That is theft. That is scamming money out of Africans. So I think Africa must now rise to this, must realize this malicious plot by the Western countries, the Western world, and crack this, say no to this. And I am still 100% in support of Namibia's move that they say, whatever the treatment that you are giving to our people out there is the same treatment we want to give your people in here. No white person, nobody from Europe and America that will really think that whatever this treatment that Africans receive in Europe and in America would be okay if they were the ones to receive the same treatment. If they were to be treated like the way they treat Africans, they would not accept. It has to be a two-way traffic. And I will say, they don't want us to go there. They don't want you Africans, you black people to go there because they don't want you to go and see the truth. They don't want you to go and see their your resources that they stole, they exploited here and took them away. Because every time you go there, you realize something. You come back and you build your continent, you build your countries, and their success is dependent on your failure. That means if you're not going to fail, they are not going to succeed. They are hiding from you what they have stolen from you. They are hiding from you all the valuable resources that were exploited in Africa and taken there, be it in manpower or in just natural resources or whatever other sector. So Africa, wake up, face the reality, face the enemy, and call truth to power. Reject this saga of this kind of exploitation, and say that Africa deserves better, if not equal, treatment to everybody else. I would love to get your views on this in the comments. You like this video and you might want to share this video, but most importantly, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel. So until next time, see you in the next video. Peace.